But that's been sort of clutch. The other thing that I've been playing a bit of, not too far, but I've been playing Death Stranding 2.
Sam, I'm asking you to extend the chiral network to the south. That's our last, best hope of saving the world. Humanity is still in danger, still on the brink of extinction. Chiralium contamination is severe. The timefall storms are growing more intense as well. The rivers can flood in an instant.
I was gonna ask if you got on the beach. I watched I put on a 30-minute. I decided not to. I was like, I'm never gonna play this first game. Like, I'm just not. So I just watched like a 30-minute summary from Gaming Bolt because it was the one that had 2.5 million views. I was like, well, that seems like a decent enough endorsement of a summary. And as I was watching it, my wife was doing some like admin work for her job. She just like look up every couple of minutes, like, what are you watching? Like babies, beaches? I'm like, don't worry, go back to your Excel spreadsheet. Don't worry about it. I'll put headphones on. You don't have to listen to this anymore. And I played the first hour, but I presume you played further than that, Rob.
A bit, not too far myself. Like I was pretty convinced that Tilly would have big problems with it because of the BTs, but the BTs are coming up a little bit less early in the game, and she's been pretty chill with the game overall. So I think the funny thing is, it kind of does feel like, so we're doing another Death Stranding. It's pretty. Why are we doing this? Sam, we need to go to Mexico. Why? I don't know. Your friends are down there, and like their lab is being menaced by a kaiju BT. It seems pretty bad. You should go down there, though. We completed the chiral network in the U.S., but obviously we have to make more connections down there. And now you might be thinking, what does Kojima think about the U.S.-Mexico border? Not a lot, but he does seem to find the big fence interesting. It's an odd it's an odd thing where like same as with with the first game, it was like, this is America, but secretly it's a volcanic island topography. It's basically Iceland. That is the first game that you're sort of traversing. Here it is like it almost feels like Joshua Tree or something like that, where it's like the vision of the Southwest and Mexico is just all dry desert canyons. And fields of rocks. So similar sort of abstract geography.
Well, it feels like they like worked out the mechanics of the movement mechanics, and then worked backwards to what geometry would be the most interesting to support it, and like logic be damned on like whether that's like consistent with the actual topography of the places they're saying they're in geographically. It's like close enough. We want to make sure that you have to hold L2 R2 in order to stabilize your boy.
They're even kind of playing fast and loose with some of the stuff that they really painstakingly laid out in the last game. I don't know if this is going to come up, but do you remember Fragile's whole deal? No, you don't, because you didn't play the game. Jen, did you play Death Stranding?
I started it. I got on the boat. I'm on the boat.
You got pretty far then. You got yeah.
Fragile
so
is
was
it Lee Sedol's character? Is that the actor's name?
So her whole deal that you discover later in the game is that like your big enemy in the game, the Troy Baker like extremist porter that is there, wanted her to take a nuke into a city and blow it up. But the thing he made her do is a really horrible thing. But remember, there's the time fall in the game where the rain falls and things age very quickly, like years pass, so like metal will decay and all that. He makes her remove her protective gear and walk like practically naked through the time fall. And so her like her body is just like ravaged by like years are passing as she walks through this downpour, and that's why she wears the the gear up to her face, where you're assuming that underneath that she's dealing with a body that's like 70, 80 years old, prematurely aged, painful. In this game, it takes you about 30 seconds before, like, you go out on the first mission. She sends you a selfie with you and the baby that you adopted at the end of the first game, and it's like, she's fine. We just hit undo on that, where it's like, don't worry. Sam Porter Bridges, like, pseudo wife in the story. Don't worry. Not a crone under all that gear. You don't need to sweat that. So, like,
that's a little disappointing here. I mean, I'm just at the point where I've accepted that mission. Like she showed up to the base, and I was sort of excited. Like, was the thing in this game going to be like dealing with sort of Sam being a parent and navigating the world, and like, but it sounds like they ditched that in favor of just getting back to the basic flow of the original Death Stranding, right?
I assume they're going to do more with it. So the pitch for this game is that at the end of the first game, they decide that you're... see, you can't talk about these games without you start describing Kojima bullshit. It's all very silly, but here we go.
Hit me.
So the whole deal with Death Stranding is that sort of this sort of curse fell on the world, and the veil between life and death was lifted, and where the beach
soul in this universe, right? Like,
yes,
there is an intrinsic element to the human being,
and everything is powered by like the chiral network and these energies that were unleashed by this like piercing of the veil between worlds, but also ghosts come out of that world, basically the BTs. And if they devour a live human, basically a nuclear bomb goes off. And anytime someone dies,
please avoid out.
Yes, avoid out. And anytime someone dies in this world, they release a new like BT. So it's very much like if you've read the Golden Compass trilogy, it's very much like in that world where every time they use the subtle knife, a haunted spirit is released. It's kind of like that, where like
I forgot about that bit. I really loved the first. I didn't finish I've read the first two books and never finished it for no particular good reason. But I forgot.
You should give it.
I should. I mean,
you know what though? In a few years, I think your kids are going to be of an age for like that's a great young adult, like bridging the gap between like children's books.
I know your friends are like reading Harry Potter, but like, what about like we go kill God over here? You know, like
what's the name of this book?
Let's mix it up.
The Golden Compass is the first book. The Subtle Knife is the second, and shit, what's the third book? It's the one where they go kill God. Can't remember.
I wasn't familiar with
Dark
this.
Materials.
I'll put this in the
It's
pile.
Dark Materials. That's right. There's like the HBO like. There was the movie.
There was a movie
bad.
adaptation.
The Daniel Craig film it was bad. I watched that. I didn't watch the BBC/HBO adaptation, but I heard that was good.
So I don't think the movie was bad per se. I think the movie was.
You cannot condense that material into a film.
That was it.
If they took the same cast and
I feel like that's just a
approach and did
longer
it-
way to say that the movie was bad.
right? But I guess I don't think the movie misunderstood.
You're explaining
the
why
material.
the movie was bad.
The
Basically,
movie
is what
should
you're
have been
adding.
better if it was sometimes a movie misunderstands the material in its adaptation. I don't think the Golden Compass movie misunderstood the material. It's like, hey, you understand it, but like cram that into 90 minutes, like impossible, cannot do. That's just not what that story like is. But I've heard the most recent adaptation, which was several seasons, was pretty well done. But I haven't had a chance to watch.
I need to check that out. Point is, so like, hey, Mina, I'm trying to explain Death Stranding. Come here.
I was thinking if Mina knew about the Death Stranding, please be a little quieter.
So, by the end of the game, what you've learned is that like the world is sort of on the verge of an extinction event, sort of, caused by these BTs to an extent. But the way that these spirits that haunt the world and menace humans, everyone is sort of like hiding from each other because like if you die around someone, you got a limited like your spirit will be released and become dangerous to them. and you don't know where these spirits are. Nobody can see them, but your character has sort of been touched by them, so you do have an awareness of where they're hiding in the world. But for most people, the way they are given, like some people are able to traverse the world safely using these bridge babies, who sort of are trapped in this realm between the worlds. And you have one that you carry with you through the game, and by the end, you've bonded with it. And then your boss is like, well, once we're kind of done with these bridge babies, we kind of just incinerate them because they're not really viable outside the test tubes. And so you should just like, hey, like Sam, go take the bridge baby and toss it in the incinerator. And by this point, though, you're like, hell no. And you run off with this kid you've adopted. And turns out yours can survive outside the test tube, and you've been hiding now from the world, raising your little girl. And at the start of this game, Mina, hold on one second. Mina.
Rob said that Mina was having no problems with Death Stranding, but Mina's father starts talking about Death Stranding.
Sometimes you don't think you have a problem, and then you get on the pod, and then you're like, actually,
I'm about
I
to
got some
make
things to say.
Mina's. I'm about to make Mina her mother's problem. 1 second.
Okay, yeah, no
That's all
problem.
good.
Hey, you want to see Mama? You see Mama?
During that in between, since this will get cut out, I went to go look at my library. I'm like, maybe I'll put this book on hold. I need some good fiction that's chill, that's fun to read. And I found where is it?
Wife recommendations. Every time she tells me what she's reading, that's fucked up, man. That's what you're reading. Your
I don't know. I like fucked up stuff because
I'll
it's
ask
the lit
you.
major in me.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Yeah.
She chirped like about a year ago. She's like, I'm gonna get. She got tired of doing audiobooks. She's like, I'm gonna get into reading. And she, when I will sit on the couch, I'm like, do you want to watch a show? She's like, oh, can I just go read instead? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, great. I don't have to feel guilty about it. Whoosh, won't see her for the rest of the night.
I wish I could be like that. That's what I want to get. But my last non-pod thing to say is I went to look at, because this is like, I don't want people to know which library I go to, so I don't put this in the show. But I looked up on my library because I'm like, I'll put the book in there and maybe put it on hold. And on the like random carousel on the website, apparently they have this thing called Steamworks, the Puppet Musical, and that just sounds awesome. But I don't have kids, so I'm not going to go to this Puppet Musical. But even though it says all ages, but you know that's not really true. I put it in the Discord if you want to look at the art is like, I feel like I have to see what this is, but I'm not going to go because it is for children.
Wow. Might be fun.
That's so cute looking. There's so many cute things at the library for families. They have this thing called Baby Party where you like lay them down and listen to me. Oh my god, so
I'll
cute.
look. Like my kids will be like, oh look at this fun thing they're doing at the library like this week. I was like, yeah, it's for if you didn't go to daycare or school, like you got to do something on Tuesday at 1 p.m. and the library is the place to go. All right, Rob.
So where this game begins, Sam's been hiding out with his little girl, living in one of the sort of compounds that you've been delivering goods to throughout the first game. But now you're hiding somewhere in the Southwest, and your old friend Fragile shows up and is like, we got one more job for you. And the conceit of this game is you connected the U.S. You sort of went everywhere. You connected everyone to the chiral network. So everyone now, but all the people who did your job, all the porters, have sort of been nationalized, and also now their job is fulfilled by autonomous robots. You don't need porters anymore. But in Mexico, they weren't connected to the chiral network, so you got to go down there and hook them up, restore service. And all your friends from the first game are down there somewhere too. And so you just have to go and help them out. And that is the sort of stick held, the carrot is we'll wipe your record clean. We'll forget all about you. The stick is, you've stolen that baby. Admittedly, we were just going to throw it away, but now she's like of interest because she survived, and technically she's company property. So, Patrick, did you reject the offer?
I thought about it, and then
I did.
Okay.
The game lets you reject Fragile's offer, and it just loops the scene and delivers you to the decision point again. It loops the scene, and the camera pans across the collage of pictures, family photos. But now there's a family photo of you and Fragile at the moment where she offers you this job, and it zooms back in. You go back to the moment where you make the decision, and you reject her again. And this time you're kicked back to the start of the game. And then you hear like Sam go, no, no. And then you go back to the decision point, and now you don't have the option to reject the offer. Now you just have to say yes.
That's kind of funny.
It is
Not
kind of
gonna lie.
funny. I don't know what's going on, but it is kind of funny.
Well, because you know, as you're laying out, it's sort of a silly conceit. Why would Sam go do this, right? Like, seems like he's got a happy life, like raising the child. Seems content. Why? Sure, it sounds like it's, you know, something bad happening down in Mexico, but like, is that my problem? Can't, like, there's a whole functioning government in the
Clip that out. No.
United Cities of America, right? Isn't that what they call it in Death Stranding by the end of it? And so like from Kojima's perspective, it's like, well, yeah, but like Sam's got to go do it. Like, come on, like get on out there, buddy. But giving the player an option and then just gently steering them back is funny.
There are also like a lot of like, is this good moments where like when you restore the chiral network in Mexico, you go to the map of the of North America, and Mexico is all like red and poisonous, and America's like a nice healthy blue. But as you expand the network, that healthy blue extends further down into Mexico, and I'm like, hey, Hideo, what are we doing here? I'm curious, just like I'm so curious what the text of this is going to be. But you know, we'll see. Either way, it's an excuse for you basically to go back and do the exact same stuff you're doing in the first game. Like, why aren't these people on the network? Because it's a different country, duh. Like, so we got to do all the same stuff because, you know, the U.S. now is all hooked up. You've hooked up to the chiral Xfinity boxes in the neighborhood, but now you got to go to Mexico and do the same stuff.
I have a question. If you've encountered this early enough, my understanding, there was Death Stranding, then Death Stranding Director's Cut. That one eventually came to Xbox and stuff like that. And I had read from fans that were like looking for an excuse to replay Death Stranding. When they played the Director's Cut, there was a lot of what some people called quality of life improvements, what other people called removing tons of necessary friction in the game. Like friction points, like this is what I like about the game, and other people going, the only reason I can play this game now is because these quote quality of life improvements. So I know you didn't play the Director's Cut, so you're jumping straight from 1 to 2. But I wonder, I know you said that the loop and like kind of what you're doing in the gameplay is awfully similar. What have you noticed, or have you noticed anything about like the moment to moment building, crafting, traversing stuff? Does it feel like it's sanded down or rather smoothed out? Some of that stuff, because you played that game pre-release, like before anything was sort of touched. I just wonder if you've noticed anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say like they've made some interface improvements and all that, but like it feels pretty. It's kind of like what I remember, but okay. I didn't play a ton of the Director's Cut, right?
Right.
I will say it feels like it feels a little harder in some ways. Like that, it feels like the threshold before Sam starts stumbling around because everything's rated on like how well do you take care of your cargo. It feels like everything's a little bit trickier. The terrain is trickier. They've also, I think, because so much of Death Stranding 1 was mood setting and establishing the world, and it layered in things about that world very, very slowly. And some things felt almost tangential, like there's combat in that game, right? It doesn't really feel like it needs to be there or matters. There's a couple places where you're forced to engage with it, but like there's bandit camps in the game and all that, and like I think there was one zone where there was a bandit camp I routinely had to deal with until eventually I built a shortcut through the mountains to evade it. But for the most part, the way the game sort of layered together is like as soon as it established its main systems, it sort of returned to let's do a lot of like heavy narrative stuff for the rest of the game and get to the end. This feels so far a little bit more like we're gonna really zero in on that delivery game. Like we are going to now, every mission has sort of a planning stage where you take the mission, you plot your route. It advises you of the hazards you'll run along the route. So you'll get like with the path you've drawn, you'll have a meter that fills that shows like almost like if you use like a hiking app or anything like All Trails, stuff like that, it has a similar thing to that where like, okay, so segment 1 is sort of green, that's gonna be safe. Segment 2 is yellow, it's gonna be tricky elevation changes. Segment 3, red, real tricky terrain, but also there's a flag on it for hazards. There's gonna be a rushing river, and there's a bandit camp there, so you might have problems there. So your overall route that you've navigated is gonna be difficult to this degree. Do you want to accept that route? You can always go and plot a different route. You're not married to it, obviously. Once you're out there in the field, you have the option of being like, oh, I'm not climbing that. Fuck that, and go somewhere else. But it has a little bit more of a feeling of planning little expeditions through the world and trying to anticipate what sort of hazards you're going to encounter and opting into what kind of hazards you're going to encounter. In the first game, it was very much like, oh shit, there's bandits here. What am I gonna do about that? Here it's very much like on the world map, we know bandits operate in this zone. We know there's some environmental hazards over here. Here are your trade-offs. The fastest route, which means the less like higher speed delivery, but also the less likelihood of like damage to your goods if you're caught in like a timefall storm, stuff like that. The fastest route will be the most hazardous. You can take a longer route that's safer, but it'll slow you down, and who knows, that has its own dangers. So it's a lot more of that stuff where it is now you are just running around doing delivery driver stuff, and the overall like big ideas or like why are we doing this hasn't yet emerged. Right now it feels much like here's a new zone, like go do Sam Porter Bridges stuff down there, and occasionally you'll get texts from your buddy. Like it is also, I will say this, I don't know much about Hideo Kojima. He seems like a guy who's like he gets in his head like some things are very, very cool. Kojima seems to think being a dad seems fucking cool. Doesn't know much about it, but he seems to think it's cool. And so he lavishes a lot of care on like, look at all the awesome shit dads get to do. You get to like feed a little kid in in its little like height chair. It's awesome. Like it seems also really awesome if like, your best friend, maybe girlfriend, who knows, but like you can just leave your kid with her for a few days, and then you get little cute little photos with her being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this app I'm consulting on child rearing is doing a great job. So like here we're getting along like a house on fire. Hey, do you want to like put the wallpaper? Do you want to change the wallpaper in the rooms that you go to rest and recover between missions? That could be pictures of your kids. You can just have a slideshow of your baby. Does that sound neat? And it's like, it's kind of neat. It's kind of sweet so far.
He does have kids.
Okay.
2, if I recall correctly. So, but again, that's it's parenting funneled through the lens of his very particular aesthetic, right? So I can still see how there's an otherworldly nature to like everything that he does that I think even when like depicting parenting or relationships, it still kind of feels slightly alien. You know what I mean? Like almost like it's an outwardly lens that is like applied to it. So I'm not shocked that that's also how the parenting stuff feels in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Which I gotta be honest, like that's like a hook for me. Like in this one, like I'm not sure how many people
they're going to put you back with that kid at some point.
You don't introduce Janet in the sequel, which you have not started, right? You've only played the original.
Nope, I played some of the original.
Yeah. No, you finished the original. We're just gonna say that you beat Death Stranding. And
Chia has given up. To be clear, I think the last time I checked in with them, they said no, I'm not playing it.
I'm sure they're spending time on the couch grinding through Death Stranding as they patiently wait for their.
It is a great couch game though. It's such a good time sink. Fucking love it.
There's a mechanic. It's one of the first things you do in Death Stranding 2, and it's awesome. Like it's the most Kojima stuff possible. It's why even when I don't connect with his work, I always try to play. It's why I was bummed. I bummed like bounce. Even the games of his I I never loathe them, but they don't connect with me. I don't find them, but they're always interesting and have interesting ideas. So we just have so few creatives in video games that are like that. So Death Stranding didn't really work for me. But I was like, all right, well maybe the Death Stranding 2 will work in a different way. I'm not convinced that's going to be true, but I'm going to give it a genuine shot. And one of the first things you have this little baby and gets a little fussy or gets a little scared. Well, you can press a button to take him out, and you gently rock the DualShock up and down in order to calm the baby down. And when the baby begins to kind of coo, then you can put the baby like back in its holder. And
Is Death Stranding just men discovering like baby care games and baby care toys? Because I fear these have existed for a long time in like the girlosphere.
Yes, like 100%.
Okay.
Like it is a game where it's like, oh shit, like I gotta carry this little fucker with me and take care of it.
Like if Kojima made Cooking Mama, like men would suddenly be like, have you ever tried preparing a meal for
But it
yourself?
would have to look like Kojima game though. It would have to be people being like, what? Like it would literally be the Die Hardman banana bread tweet, but like literally that's like a key mission that you're doing. But yes, there's an element of that where it's like, you ever bonded with another tiny creature that you have to care for? This is awesome. But also it's like you and your robot friend are going to help rear this child, and it's like, yeah, we are. Hell yeah.
That's called a community. That's called a village. Sometimes a village has a robot.
That's that mutual aid that we have been striving for.
Yeah, no, this is literally like this is the world's most expensive flower baby like game, right? Where it is, you remember like in like the whole like, can you take care of a sack of flour thing?
Yeah.
To show like what it's like to take care of an infant. Death Stranding is a lot of that, where it's like, what if you had to hike with your flower baby?
Damn.
It's like, there will be people who hate on Yoshi's Island and they're playing Death Stranding. Let me find out, because is that you?
That's telling.
Okay.
That's telling. No.
Okay, thank God. Yoshi's Island's such a good game.
No,
but yeah, it's like the same.
I think that's a red flag.
It's the same thing. Well, I think neither of y'all are far enough in to know this, but I'll be curious to know, because it seems Death Stranding 2 has seemingly, I don't know, gotten a kind of warmer reception, despite it being like a little bit in that more of the same sequelness. I'll be curious to know if y'all think the chain, like what is different is enough to make it worth like giving a shot if you didn't vibe with the first one, or if it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you didn't like the first one, you're not really gonna like the second one. Like you kind of have to like the first one to enjoy it. I don't know what I will do with the rest of Death Stranding 1. I am interested in giving it, because I don't want to jump to 2 without knowing what I even think of the franchise, but I also don't want to play the first one in a way like it's just long. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see.
This was supposed to be longer, so it's.
I did put a good. There's like no chance I finish 2 this year at all, but there's a chance I start 2. But that chance is also small, so we'll see.
Congratulations,
but I want to know.
Kojima.
I want to know. I want to know if I like it before I. You know what I mean? Like, why go to 2 if I don't know what I think of 1 yet?
Yeah.
So
I mean, again, I'm deliriously early, but it's Rock can probably speak to it more. But I don't think this is a fundamental shift in like mechanics. Like, if you don't, or am I wrong there, Rob?
No, I don't think you are. I think for me, it's like, it's more mechanically focused, at least out of the gate, where it's like,
but you liked that part of
absolutely.
Death Stranding, right?
So it's not a big like. I think if one of the issues you ran into with the first one is like, it's really slow, and I don't really know, like, there's too much story shit happening all the time. This is leading with a lot more like, let's just get out there and carry some shit around, and it's leading with that a fair bit. So it's a little more systems focused. Now, do I think like there's a lot of narrative coming? Yeah, I do. There's no way that this game is this long that without there being there's things that have already been seen in promo materials that I'm like, I don't even know how we get there. So I'm curious how that's going to pan out. But I do think that if you were like with Death Stranding 1, I'm really enjoying the hiking and the figuring out how to traverse tricky terrain and all that. I'm not sure I'm here for all the weird narrative stuff and the flashbacks to Mads Mikkelsen fighting Dream Wars. This isn't
awesome though.
I know. I like Death Stranding.
Like that free, like Hey, do you want to watch Mads Mikkelsen fight in Dream War? Yes.
Look, go back to the conversation I had with Harper. That holiday season about this game. We both dug it. It's very silly, but if that stuff was a hurdle for you, and you're like, I just really love the hiking stuff. Death Stranding 2 out of the gate is leading with, yeah, no, we can just focus on the hiking. I think the other stuff's coming, but it is leading with that, whereas the first game leads with the weirdness. Anyway, so that's Death Stranding 2 for now. What have y'all been up to?
Well, funny enough, Janet and I did stream this week playing another climbing navigation game, Peak.